Hi everyone and welcome back. So this video is going to talk about wrist strength, wrist mobility. A lot of us that work at computers all day, every day, we spend 8 to 10 hours of our daily life sat at a computer in the same position, just typing away. And the guide is to get away from your desk every 20 minutes or so. But for a lot of us, that's not very realistic. And for various reasons, that's just not possible throughout the day. But what we can do is take steps to avoid suffering from wrist pain and that weakness that comes with that repetitive typing and keeping our wrists and our forearms in the same position. I mean, these are exercises that you can do to prevent, but also if you feel like your wrist is starting to suffer, you could start to do these as well. What I would say is you need to make sure that you are sitting and working at your desk correctly, your posture is right, and that you are set up in the right position. And if you're not sure, someone in your office, the office manager, or some kind of occupational health should be able to do that assessment for you and make sure that you are set up correctly. But otherwise, these exercises can help aid you with that. So to start with, we're just going to take some wrist circles. So we start to circle the wrists round in one direction, just to get them moving, feeling the warmth into the joints. Lovely. We can start to see how much wrist mobility we've got here. And then we're going to take it back in the other direction. Always want to make sure we're nice and evened out. And these aren't going to be particularly long videos because I appreciate that people don't have loads of time to spend doing this. So hopefully just a nice quick stretch to mobilize and get rid of any discomforts. Bringing the hands together, clasping the hands, and we want to start taking them around in this figure 8 position. So it might take you a couple of rounds just to get used to the movement. It doesn't feel overly natural. Just taking the hands and the wrists backwards and forwards. There we go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax with the hands. And we just bring one arm out in front of you. We're going to drop the fingertips towards the floor. Now already, depending on how tight this area is, you might feel this along the forearm. I've done a lot of typing recently and I can definitely feel that. I'm going to take the other hand and just place it on top, just gently, very gently pressing down. Don't want any, excessive force here. Ooh, starting to feel that into the top of the wrist. And stick with your Pilates breath here. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And then we're going to take the hand away, flex the fingers up towards the ceiling, and again, just gently pressing on the fingers to pull them back. So bring in a nice stretch into the wrist, into the hand, the palm, the fingers. Releasing that stretch, relaxing that arm down, and we come onto the other side. So we drop the fingers down towards the floor, opposite palm comes onto the hand, just gently pushing down, feeling that in the forearm, maybe into the top of the wrist. And 8 to 10 hours of sitting at our desk is an excessive amount of time. So we do need to make sure that we make time for these stretches. Putting the fingers away now. Even if it's just 10 minutes a day, it's better than not doing anything. So relaxing the hands, give them a little shake. We're going to bring both arms out in front of us. We're going to clench the fists, really squeezing through the fingers, and then extend the palms lengthening through the fingers. We clench the fists and then extend the fingers away. So taking this at your own pace, feeling that stretch all the way through the fingertips. Two more. Last one. And then relax down, give the hands a little shake. I'm going to come up and over into 4-point kneeling now. So hands under shoulders, knees underneath our hips. We want to make sure the shoulders are over the wrists and our spine is nice and long. We're still going to lift up through the belly and in through the sides of the waist, just to create that nice, strong, stable base. So a lot of people struggle in this position because of their wrist strength. Can't stay here for too long because it gets a little bit achy and a little bit uncomfortable. So from this position, I just want us to shift the weight backwards. So we're coming off of the wrists a little bit, and then we shift forwards. So we bring the weight back, and then forwards. But by going through this movement, we're taking the weight away from the wrist, but still getting that bit of mobility. And then bringing the weight over the wrists. So they have a chance to start to strengthen up here. This doesn't feel like a particularly difficult move, but it's good for the wrists. And this is what we're focusing on in today's video. Helps to build the strength. Making this our last one. When we've got back to the center, I want you to turn your palms out to the side. So like this. So you're in this position. We've still got the shoulders over the wrists. And we're going to gently shift the weight from side to side. Ooh, now, depending on how tight your wrists are, this might feel a little bit uncomfortable, which it does for me today. So breathe through it. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And we're just taking the weight over a little bit. It doesn't need to be a massive movement, especially if you find this uncomfortable, just go to the point where your body will allow. So we just need to keep lifting up through the belly so we've got a nice, strong, stable base. Then lengthen out nice and long through the neck. We go for 3, 2, and 1. Now, if you need to, you can come and sit off of the wrists for a second if that already feels a little bit uncomfortable. We've only got a couple more exercises to go that I want to show you here. So this one might seem a little bit strange to start with, but we're trying to move the wrists in all different directions so that we can really feel the full benefit of the stretch and the mobilizing through the joint. So this time we're going to turn the palms backwards. So I'll show you facing this way. We take the palms, so they're facing back towards our fingertips pointing towards the legs. So let me show you from the side. We take the palms back, so they're pointing towards the legs. So this is going to feel a little bit weird, not something that we're used to doing. But from here, I just want you to gently shift the weight back. There's not going to be a big movement. You start to really feel that through the wrists. And then taking it a little bit further forward. So we shift back, really small movement. The wrists won't let you go too far here, unless you're incredibly mobile through your wrists. In which case, you probably need the next video. And just feel that stretch coming all the way up the wrist and into the lower part of the arm. And if you do start to get real problems with your wrists and that discomfort or that ache turns to pain, then you should definitely get it looked at by your GP, as there might be something a little bit more there, maybe some carpal tunnel or something like that. So it's always worth getting it checked out if you're concerned, or if it doesn't seem to be going away and you've done everything that you can, sort of make changes and doing your stretches. We'll take 2 more. And then gently, very gently, turning the palms back around, come and sit back. Maybe you need to give the wrists a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a twist. But we've only got one more exercise that I want to show you. And it's still in that 4-point kneeling position. So we come back in, palms facing forward this time, we're going back to normal. And from here, I'll show you from the front. From here, we're going to focus on the fingers. So we're going to keep the palms down on the floor. I want you to lift the fingers one at a time, and then place them down one at a time, and then go back through the motion. Now, it seems like a relatively easy move, and you probably are wondering why I'm asking you to do this. But there are a few benefits to this. The first one is the coordination. And a lot of the time, work on the coordination is not a bad thing, and people will struggle to move one finger at a time. Also, as you start to lift the finger, you might feel a stretch into the top of the hand. And whilst that's not directly into the wrist, it's all connected. And we want to get a stretch along the top of the hand into the fingers so that we can start to use the hands and the wrists more effectively. So focusing on lifting one finger at a time and then placing them down. Maybe you want to try going the other way. So if you're starting with the thumb, maybe start with the little finger. And we start to check in with the mobility of the fingers. And then when you're finished, you can sit back and relax. And any of the moves that I've shown you today, you can do at your desk. So the shifting the weight backwards or forwards with the palms in different directions, you could do at your desk any time of the day, whenever you want. Also, another one that's useful is doing those exercises against a wall. So even if you're not set up with your mat, or maybe you really want to get up and move away from the desk, you can still do these against the wall as well. So lots of benefits to these. You can do them anytime, anywhere, and hopefully you have found that useful. Do let me know your comments. I'd really like to know your thoughts. Thank you.